This is the second exercise in the boot camp series. This one is throwing a cylinder. And I want to reiterate that learning to throw a good cylinder is the hardest of all the exercises to master. And it doesn't happen overnight. It takes practice. Remember that these exercises are meant to develop all the basic skills that you need to make any pot you want to make. The basic skills. That's not to say there's not more to learn. And again, the whole thing with this centering is catching the force of the clay coming into your hand. If you're throwing as a right-hander with the wheel spinning counterclockwise, the clay is coming into your left hand and you're catching that force and pushing into it. That makes all the clay move around inside. This again is 2 3/4 pounds of clay. It's a nice comfortable size for the demos. When you're doing these exercises, you should always try to use the same amount of clay, an amount of clay that is comfortable to you. You want to minimize the variables so you can focus on what's working and what's not working. Okay, we'll open this up. Pay attention to the lip of the pot compared to my inside hand when I start a pull. You can even go back to the beginning of this pull and see it. You'll see that the clay starts to grow before my hands start to go up, before the pull starts, before my hands start to rise. This is something students often don't understand, but it is not until the clay starts to grow that you've actually started the wave that you're going to try to follow through the rest of the... Oop, I'm getting a little dry there. Through the rest of the wall. Now, one of the things you want to learn to do, you absolutely want to learn to do, is to learn to use the rib. And that only comes from practice. And I'm switching to the rib here with the next pull. That's the kind of rib I use. Wooden rib will work fine. Any rigid rib with a good edge on it just fine. What I'm doing here is an expanding pull. You notice that the diameter of the pot is increasing. Although when I get up to about here, it has to change to a slightly constricting pull. These are the two pulls you want to learn. Next one I do will be a constricting pull. And students often don't realize that it's a lot easier to make a pot grow, a lot easier to do a pull. Yeah, got a little bit of weirdness going on here. If you're changing the diameter of the pot, I'm going to straighten that up a little bit. It's not necessary that a demo will be perfect, I don't think. Now I'm going to do one more expanding pull. You notice I haven't added any water or slip to the pot since my first rib pull. That's something you want to learn to do. I guess at this point I've already transitioned into a constricting pull. I never even realized I was doing that until I never recognized these two pulls. This pot is essentially fully thrown. Now I'm going to just straighten it up. Make a good cylinder out of it. I said this is the hardest of the exercises to master. And it is. And the ones that come after this, final exercise is challenging and takes a fair amount of practice. The next one after this is collaring. That's almost a vacation. That's something that, if you've learned to make a good cylinder, you probably can master collaring if you follow the directions in a day. Because the skills you learn in learning to make a good cylinder just about cover what you need to learn. You just have to learn how to apply them differently. Now the thickened lip here, I recommend anyone learning to throw, learn to throw with a thickened lip. Specifically because it adds a lot of stability to your pot at the top. When you have developed your skills to the point where you're a good thrower, even before that point really, if you want to make pots with a thin lip, you certainly can do that. It's easier to learn if you give yourself that extra stability at the top. And we'll cut this in half.